Kobe vs. Shaq. The feud that destroyed a dynasty. They were the most dominant duo in NBA history, towering legends who together captured 3 coveted championship rings. Countless highlights, innumerable iconic plays celebrated by millions of fans worldwide. Yet beneath those banners of triumph, a terrifying storm was brewing, a seed of destruction planted from the very beginning. This wasn't just a simple disagreement between 2 great teammates. This was war. A personal battle between Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. A feud that tore apart the glorious Lakers dynasty, leaving a scar forever etched in basketball history. Conflicting souls. The story began in 1996 when the Lakers made a bold decision, drafting a 17-year-old named Kobe Bryant straight out of high school. Just 1 year later, they brought in the league's most unstoppable force, Shaquille O'Neal, a center whose power and skill obliterated every opponent. On paper, it was the perfect, destined combination to build an empire. But from day one, as these 2 formidable personalities clashed, the tension was as palpable as a knife's edge. Kobe, obsessed with greatness, was cold, calculated, a relentless workhorse, always striving for perfection, down to the smallest detail. In contrast, Shaq was a generational talent, but laid-back, playful, and never in a rush on the court. While Kobe stayed late for hours to shoot 500 extra jumpers fueled by his relentless pursuit of excellence, Shaq was cracking jokes, lightening the mood in the locker room, prioritizing comfort and fun. This wasn't just a difference in playing style. It was a difference in life philosophies. While Shaq confidently proclaimed himself the most dominant ever, Kobe quietly thought, "I will be the greatest ever." Without him, the crack had begun there, simmering and deep, sowing the seeds for an inevitable tragedy. The public eruption. The feud couldn't stay hidden forever. Like an unhealed wound, it festered and finally burst into the open. In 2000, right in the middle of a championship run, the tension reached its peak. Shaq openly criticized Kobe to the media, stating, "He shoots too much. He needs to pass the ball." It was a public jab, adding fuel to the fire. Kobe, with his inherent pride, retorted just as fiercely, "If I had the ball as much as Shaq, I'd average 40. The verbal sparring wasn't confined to headlines. On the practice court, they nearly came to blows, intense clashes not with opponents, but with each other. In the locker room, the entire team was split into 2 distinct factions, Team Shaq or Team Kobe, creating a suffocating, taut atmosphere. But remarkably, despite it all, it worked. They still won. They conquered 3 consecutive championships together, forging an invincible dynasty. Because on the court, their talent was too overwhelming, too unstoppable. The combination of Shaq's explosive power and Kobe's finesse and killer instinct was a perfect winning formula. However, off the court, the damage continued to accumulate, the personal conflicts steadily eroding their relationship day by day, hinting at an unfavorable end. The painful breakup. The rift became irreparable. In 2004, after losing to Detroit in the finals, everything exploded like a ticking time bomb. This was the final straw. Shaq wanted more money, a recognition of his value. Kobe, on the other hand, flatly refused to play with him again, clearly stating the irremediable breakdown of their partnership. The Lakers faced a difficult choice, and ultimately, they chose Kobe, the future of the team. Shaq was traded to the Miami Heat, an abrupt end to a golden era. As he departed with utter bitterness, he roared to reporters, "This team is in the hands of a selfish kid." From that moment, the war between the 2 superstars escalated uncontrollably, becoming a personal race for power and self-validation. Shaq quickly won a championship ring in Miami, proving he could win without Kobe. In response, Kobe endured 5 arduous years to exact his sweet revenge. With 2 consecutive titles in 2009 and 2010 entirely under his own spotlight, the message was crystal clear. I don't need Shaq to win. This was not just the strongest declaration of war, but also an affirmation of each man's individual legacy deeply etched into NBA history. Bitter rivals and the final embrace years passed. They didn't speak directly, only continued to fire verbal jabs at each other in interviews, bitter words constantly flowing, keeping the flame of their animosity alive in the headlines. But deep down with time, the fire of their rivalry faded, giving way to a silent respect and perhaps even regret. In 2009, Shaq watched Kobe win another championship, and with profound understanding, he simply uttered 4 words, "Now I understand him." It was an acknowledgement of Kobe's relentless pursuit of greatness, a belated comprehension. In 2016, during Kobe's emotional final game, Shaq sat courtside witnessing a historic moment. Kobe, at 37, delivered an unbelievable performance, scoring 60 points. Shaq stared in stunned disbelief, his eyes wide with amazement, exclaiming, "I've never seen anything like it." That moment dissolved all barriers. The feud ended, not with a fierce battle, but with a sincere embrace, a pat on the back, and whispered words full of emotion. 2 giants, 2 sworn rivals. Finally, peace. A release. But that peace sadly came too late, when only one remains. The greatest tragedy struck when no one expected it. On January 26, 2020, the world was shaken by the news of Kobe Bryant's death in a tragic helicopter crash. For Shaq, it was a devastating blow to his soul. He broke down in sobs, gnawing regret consuming his heart. "I didn't call him. I thought I had more time," he said in anguish, his words imbued with remorse for unmade calls, unsaid words. At Kobe's memorial, before millions of watchful eyes, Shaq choked back tears and said, "We were kings of the world. Now, I'm just a king alone without my brother." That pain, truly indescribable, was a harsh reminder of what was lost of a brotherhood that could never be fully mended. The cost of pride. 2 legends. 2 egos too grand, too powerful to share a single throne. A brilliant dynasty was destroyed from within, not by opponents, but by internal conflicts. This was not merely a personal feud between 2 superstars. It was the steep cost of pride, a historical lesson that will forever be remembered about the complexities of human relationships, the consequences of persistent discord, and what we can lose when ego takes over.